You're listening to Catholic Chicago. Ahead, the Archdiocese of Chicago brings you programs about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Thanks for letting us be part of your morning. Now again, Catholic Chicago.
Good morning and welcome to the Voice of Charity. I'm Katie Bredemann and we extend a warm hello to all who are listening on WNDZ 750 AM here in Chicago and all who are watching our live stream on YouTube and Facebook at Catholic Chicago. As we mentioned in recent weeks here on the Voice of Charity, it is an exciting time at Catholic Charities. To best serve our clients now and into the future, we are establishing regional mission boards in the 6 Vicariates of the Archdiocese of Chicago. These regional mission boards are working closely with our regional offices to serve clients on the local parish level, even more than before, and help people who want to be involved in the work of Catholic Charities find rewarding opportunities very close to their homes. Today, we welcome 2 Catholic Charities representatives of our South and Southwest Cook County region. They are Christopher Torres, Regional Director, and Ellen Brabec, Regional Mission Board Chairperson for the South region. Both of these leaders are incredibly generous, longtime advocates for Catholic Charities clients, and we're so fortunate to have them on the show today to provide an update regarding these vibrant regions. Welcome, Chris and Ellen.
Good to be here.
Morning.
Thanks so much for being with us on the show today. Chris, can we ask you to please start us out? You've worked at Catholic Charities for a remarkable 14 years, and you've been Regional Director of the South and Southwest Cook County region for 7 years. What have been the most pressing concerns of your clients this summer? And also, can you remind us all what suburbs are identified by the South and Southwest region?
Well, thank you for having me on. So the South and Southwest region mirror the Vicariate 5 and 6 suburban area of the Archdiocese. And it's a pretty large area. Think all the way from Summit, Illinois, down the I-55 corridor to the Will County line, to the south and southwest, all the way to Indiana, back up the Indiana-Illinois border, back to the Chicago border, and then back up through Blue Island.
That is quite a large region. And before we go any further, Chris, can you please share with our audience some contact information for anybody in those regions, in those suburbs, who knows anyone who might need assistance?
Sure. If you're in the South region, you can call us at 708-333-8379. And if you live in the Southwest region, you can call us at 708-430-0428.
Thank you for sharing those numbers. And as I said, we're curious, what have been the most common requests of clients coming to your regional offices this summer?
So this summer it's been a lot, mainly rental assistance and food insecurity. So our food pantries are pretty busy. And, we also have a meal program in 4 locations between 2 regions. Monday night, we have it at St. Anne's in Hazel Crest. Tuesday night, at St. Christopher in Midlothian, Wednesday at St. Blaise and Summit, which we also have a food pantry there. And then on Fridays, we have it at St. Stephen's, Deacon and Martyr in Tinley Park. So we're, we have a lot of meals, and of course we have the food pantries.
That's wonderful to be resuming the in-person events. That means so much to people. And I know it's a lot of work for your volunteers and your staff, but it's amazing that you're able to do that 4 nights a week like that, Chris. I also know you've had some very successful events in recent weeks. Can you share details about several of those?
Sure. So about 2 weeks ago, we were out at trailer park in Broadway called Broadway Estates in Summit. And for the last 4 years, we've had a back to school community event, and we get quite a few families and children at that location. And then last weekend we had an event at Lincoln Elementary in Calumet City. They have a back to school event as well, and we were part of that. And we partner with other Catholic organizations, thinking about the Linus Project, which donated quite a few handmade blankets. And we handed out, I think, about 100 of those at the Lincoln Elementary event.
And so you're gathering people as a community event, but you're also offering some basic needs, some basic toiletries and socks and backpacks. Basic needs that these kids need to have a good start of the school year. Correct?
Yes. So quite a bit of toiletries, toothpaste, backpacks, socks, underwear, things that kids really need to go back to school with.
We take for granted those basic necessities, and these folks really need them. So it's wonderful that you pulled those events together at a key time in the summer. And I would also just be curious about some of your community partners. Would you like to take this opportunity to give a shout out to a few of the people that you work with to make those events so successful?
So Project Linus is one, and then of course our board and all the parishes. So my peer in the Southwest, Carol Peterson, helped organize the socks and underwear and toiletry drive. So we received quite a bit of response from the board, the regional advisory boards, and the parishes in the regions. So most of the stuff is donated. We do buy a few things, but really it's the volunteers who come forward and the donors who really make a difference to make these events so successful.
Sounds like a wonderful cooperative effort. Mary Ellen, may I turn to you and ask how long you've been involved with Catholic Charities and how you first got involved?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity to share. I've been working with Catholic Charities for about 13 years. I worked in healthcare for my whole career and knew what Catholic Charities did for our patients and our clients as far as services. And then our parish started to do food drives. And I'm a dietitian by training, so I was certainly interested in feeding people. So I got involved just at the parish level with working on the food drive. And then when someone from the regional board retired and moved on, they asked me to take a position, and I willingly stepped on. So we've been doing the food drive at St. Joseph's in Homewood for 13 years. And that's been a big part of getting people aware and involved in our community, actually. We advertise it through our community village newsletter and do a food drive quarterly. We regularly collect about 5 carloads of food and take it out to the pantry, and then also take monetary donations that can then be passed on, and they can fill the gap with what they need. So we've had a very successful response from community members throughout Homewood, Flossmoor, Glenwood, bringing food to donate.
And how many families and individuals are served at those food pantries weekly, Mary Ellen?
We have our food pantry is at St. Irenaeus in Park Forest, and we regularly serve about 150 families. And they estimate that the average family is 4 people, so that's 600 people. And they try to serve 10 meals a week to each one of those people by the amount of food that they're allowed to select. So, that's 6,000 meals a week that are given to people. And we have what's called a selective pantry. So during the pandemic, we had to go to non-selective. So, and actually that's where we got a tremendous amount of community involvement. I sent out an all points bulletin to people saying we needed more volunteers because we needed to be able to take carts out and drop them off to the cars. Because people weren't able to come in, and we used kids who weren't in school during March, April, May, June, of that lovely year, and their parents, and came out and distributed the food. So it was a real eye-opening experience for kids and parents alike. And I think if you get the kids involved, it grows the base of people who will then serve in the future. So we serve about 6,000 meals a week at our pantry, and Chris can address St. Blaise even better.
And just hearing about that volume of meals per week, it's really quite remarkable that you've been so intricately involved for 13 years. Thank you so much for your dedication and your volunteer work, Mary Ellen. We're so grateful at Catholic Charities for people like you who just believe in the mission and have stuck with it over many years. Thank you. May I also ask, with your professional training as a dietitian, are you able to incorporate that into your conversations with clients and share some of your knowledge with them?
To a small extent, I'm certainly there as a resource person. They come in pretty focused on what they want. Actually, Greater Chicago Food Depository has good assistance with a QR code that they can utilize to get recipes. And if they don't know what to do with them, most of our clients are pretty savvy in what they need and what they want. But we do have, the way we do our selection is kind of interesting in that it's grouped in like cereals, fruits, vegetables, so they get they get choices from each one of the kind of food groups as they move along, and they're allowed to take more or less depending upon their size of their group that they're shopping for. So I'm there as a resource if they need it. One of the young men who works they've got an amazing group of volunteers out there, and one of the young men that works in the fresh produce room, for instance, 2 weeks ago we had jicama, and he Googled what to do with jicama. So if people didn't know what jicama was and what to do with it, he was able to give them information right there. So, he's also very anxious to help and be a source of information for our clients who are out there.
It sounds like a wonderful team effort, and like I said, that volume of meals per week really is astounding. That's amazing that you're able to continue that. It's one thing to do it on a short-term basis or for holidays, but to provide that on a continuous basis is really remarkable. Can I ask you both? We mentioned at the top of the show about our regional mission boards forming. Chris, can I start with you and just say, how is it going from your perspective as regional director?
Well, I always joke with Mary Ellen and Tim, the other chair, about we have post-COVID and we have pre-COVID. And, 2 years of having Zoom meetings and not meeting in person really changed the face of the agency, I think, at some levels, and also the board. So now we're post-COVID, we're trying to rebuild and re-engage with our board members and community, and actually really going out to the parishes and finding out how things are going. I've always said that the secret sauce for Catholic Charities is the relationships in the community. So that takes time and to re-engage with each board member and, push through new visions, and also what we're doing in the community is very exciting. And, it's going to take time for us to move through this.
Of course. And as we mentioned, Mary Ellen is kindly accepted the role of Regional Mission Board Chairperson for the South Region. But then, as Chris mentioned, her colleague is Tim Richards, who is the Regional Mission Board Chairperson for the Southwest Region. He unfortunately, wasn't able to be with us today. We're trying to get him, see if we can get him during our break. But for right now, Mary Ellen, can I ask what you and Tim have been doing to connect with parish representatives and outreach committees, see what they're doing, and then see how Catholic Charities can enhance that work this fall and winter?
Sure. We've been, through our food drive, I've been able to reach out to several people to see if they're interested in joining our board. New people, who have been volunteers, so showed an interest in the work. And we've gotten several interested parties who are interested in coming on the board. And then also someone who had served on the board or had been related to the board in activities previously reached out to me through the food pantry and said, she was interested in getting involved. So just kind of reactivating those touch points. With Renew My Church going through a lot of changes and reformatting, unifying different parishes into new parishes, we're trying to allow that kind of dust to settle and then reach out to those groups, go out to the parishes and see what we can do for them, and then what they're already doing. So we're not, how can we both serve each other best so that we can meet the needs of the people in our community as well as possible.
Wonderful. Well, as I said, there's tremendous excitement. And if you'll bear with us, we're going to take a quick break here on The Voice of Charity. And when we return, we'd love to hear some of those client stories. How is this new structure really helping clients in the most effective and the quickest ways to alleviate their concerns? So as I mentioned, we'll be back with Chris Torres and Mary Ellen Brabec. Please stay tuned.
Catholic Charities Refugee Resettlement Program has been especially busy this year, assisting individuals and families who have fled dangerous situations in their homeland, including Afghanistan and the Ukraine. The Refugee Resettlement Team helps with everything they need to start to rebuild their lives in a new country, including housing, employment, clothing, food, English classes, and referrals for legal and immigration services. The refugees are tremendously grateful for the compassion and practical help they're receiving, and they're giving back and helping each other plan for a brighter, safer future. Volunteer opportunities are currently available for those who would like to be family mentors and tutors so children and adults can practice English. To learn more about these rewarding opportunities, call 312-655-7096. That's 312-655-7096.
This is year 44 for me teaching. When I started here, there were teachers here that had taught me when I was a student. Now I'm the old person. Right now, I teach junior high math. I love when kids find what I'm teaching to be fun and they get it. I see that light bulb go off and it's a thrill. People are always amazed. What? You're here for 44 years? It's hard for me to believe, frankly. I love what I do. Every summer I think, oh, I miss the classroom. Even on the weekends, I think I can't wait to get back on Monday and teach those quadratic equations.
Shape the next generation of leaders. Teach. Apply today at archchicago.org/schooljobs.
Ancestry and genealogy are more important every day. People all over the world are wanting to learn more about their family heritage for personal and for health reasons. At Catholic Charities, we are hearing from adults who lived for a brief time at St. Vincent's Orphanage, the wonderful life-affirming agency that operated out of our headquarters for 91 years, serving thousands of women, children, and families until it closed in 1972. Our post-adoption services help adults who want to learn more about their experience at St. Vincent's. Our compassionate staff members provide whatever family background information they can offer, along with support and reunion services. To learn more, call 312-655-7093. That's 312-655-7093. The spirit of St. Vincent's lives on in the inspiring stories that continue to emerge today.
Welcome back to the Voice of Charity. I'm Katie Bredemann, and it's my great pleasure today to be here with Christopher Torres, who is the Regional Director for the South and Southwest Cook County region of Catholic Charities, and also Mary Ellen Brabec, a longtime dedicated volunteer who has now very generously stepped up to be the Regional Mission Board Chairperson for the South Cook region. And Chris and Mary Ellen, before the break, we were talking about the Regional Mission Board structure and how that's starting to come into play this fall as you're meeting with parish representatives. Can I ask you both to maybe share a client story or two about people who are benefiting already from this, cohesive unit on the parish local level to assist client needs? Chris, may I start with you?
Sure. So, I think rental assistance is a big part of what's going on right now because we had the 2 years or so of moratorium of people not getting evicted. We had a family that lived in Homewood in spring that was victims of a fire in the apartment they were at. So we worked with them for toiletries and other items, but we also put them into a hotel for about 3 weeks while they could, so they could get back on their feet. We get a lot of off calls for everything from my car's broken to I'm living on the street to domestic violence, to my children need uniforms. So we take the calls as we can, and most of them go through programming. And then the off items, we go to the board or individuals to see where we can help.
Those are powerful stories and good reminders of the very serious concerns that are in people's lives. And how about you, Mary Ellen? Any client stories that you can share as well?
I mean, I think the one that, because I'm in closest contact with the food pantry and my work out there, just seeing, there's two little older women who come for the food pantry twice a month, and they come on the little shuttle bus from in Park Forest. And it's just amazing to see how much they rely on the food from the pantry. When they get the eggs, they'll say, "Oh, good, now I can cook my eggs tomorrow morning for breakfast, and I've got some chicken so that I can have that for dinner during the week." They look forward to being able to come and get their food there, and for them it makes a difference in what they're able to get. And also, I think interestingly, you mentioned the communal aspect of it. When they come in, I was gone for about 3 weeks, and keeping in mind that I'm at the door. That's all I do is greet people and direct them to where they need to be. And the one little lady said, "Oh, it's so good to see you back. I missed having you here." So just that contact point of someone greeting them and saying good morning, good afternoon, and directing them. And they pack one of those little shopping carts up and carry it back on the bus. And I'm always commenting on they're the best packers that we've got, but they like that interaction, that human touch, and I think that that's what does it for me as far as, what we're able to do to reach out to people and touch their lives. I think it's important. And I really want more kids to be able to see that and get the human value of what we do and what other people are needing and experiencing.
Well, and those who are facing food insecurity, that warmth of feeling part of a community means all the difference in the world, I'm sure. Can we talk a little bit about what the Regional Mission Board structure is going to offer volunteers? As I said, one of the large goals of this is to allow people to, contribute to the mission of Catholic Charities, blocks from their home, right, in a more substantial way. And so, Chris, can you outline a little bit about what those volunteer options are going to be through the regional mission boards?
Sure. So we have a lot of things going on right now. I think we have really 3 areas of focus that we're trying to put together as far as who should be doing what. One is parish engagement. The second one is community engagement. And the third one is advocacy for the general community. And like you said earlier, Katie, it's really hyper-local. As I'm looking at these photos, all these items that are out are donated. They're out in different sites where we're engaging the community. If you're interested in coming out and really serving in your community, that's really where our focus is. It's so wonderful to meet people in the regions, and organizing and giving is actually very, very fun to do.
And so a volunteer could call one of your regional offices and offer to, come and just stock food in the food pantries, for example, do something individual like that. Or they could participate on mission teams, right? If 3 or 4 people want to join together and perhaps speak with a family that's learning English, and help them develop their colloquial, phrasing. That way they can be part of a team, right? But then also, I believe there's advocacy roles where people, volunteers could participate in community meetings with, for example, a local village government, advocating for Catholic Charities clients that way. Correct, Mary Ellen? Have I missed another opportunity for volunteers there?
No, those are some really good examples, Katie. And I mean, we have an advocacy day where if people feel comfortable going down to Springfield and meeting with legislators and letting them know what's happening in the community, what needs to be done. That's, another avenue. Some people really feel that that's their strength and they enjoy doing that. We have one of the great community outreach that Chris established a long time ago was before the pandemic started, when we had our fundraisers, we had a relationship with Thornridge High School, and they would, their band group would come and play for our fundraiser. And then in the fall, they would help us do a huge food drive in South Holland, where one Saturday they'd pass out the grocery bags, and the next Saturday we'd go around the neighborhood and collect those grocery bags. So those kids got to reach out and touch people in a fairly easy way, but still make a difference. So there's all sorts of ways that people can reach out and connect and help if they're interested.
And I know
and that's what we're interested
go ahead.
in developing more too.
Yeah.
That's what we're interested in developing more.
Yeah. And I know another part of it is to, as you mentioned earlier in the show, Mary Ellen, help young people understand how rewarding it is, when they give of themselves to Catholic Charities. And that's easier to do if the effort is organized more on the local level too, because many of the grade schools and high schools in our area actually have service requirements. And so I think that's another part of it, isn't it, Chris, that to hopefully get the word out there on a more regular basis of Catholic Charities opportunities in your neighborhood and help these kids fulfill their hours, but also help them see how rewarding it is when you are totally making a difference in someone's life today who might be facing food insecurity. Right, Chris?
Correct. I'm smiling because my son just got confirmed last spring, and he had to do the service hours. And then my daughter 4 years earlier was also doing her service hours with Catholic Charities. And, so yes, there's plenty of work. If you want service hours, you need service hours, we can put you to work and get your hours.
In the short time we have left, can I ask you each to reflect a little bit on the best things about working and volunteering for Catholic Charities? Mary Ellen, may I start with you?
Yeah, thank you. One of the great things that's enhanced my life, besides helping other people, is the great group of people that I've gotten to meet. Networking with others that I might not reach out and be able to meet in any other way. So the volunteers in Park Forest, the people in Blue Island, Sister Pat, who's on our board, who at 90 plus years is working, doing tutoring and ESL help. So, just meeting a group of people that are phenomenal and which enriches my life, and then being able to enrich other people's lives as well. It's the two-way street.
Beautifully said, Mary Ellen. And you, Chris?
I echo Mary Ellen's comments. You learn and you get relationships with pastors and board members and families and the regions over such a long period of time. You just appreciate really what people really do in the community. You always hear about things that are going wrong in the community, but then you meet people who really care. I keep saying it's the secret sauce of how we're so successful is the people who really step up and really engage the community and really support the agency to get things done. So I'm always in awe and like, how are we going to do this? And then, Mary Ellen will say, this is how we're going to do it. Like, okay, let's go do it. And we end up doing it. And, it just comes back to us. So really honored to work with Mary Ellen and Tim and staff and the community that supports us. And I'm always humbled by the work we do.
Well, you two are amazing examples, as well as your other staff members and other volunteers of this excitement at Catholic Charities right now. We wish you all the best and hope you'll come back on the Voice of Charity to continue to provide an update with us, along with Mary Ellen's colleague, Tim Richards, who we're also very grateful for his dedication as well. Just another reminder, anybody who wants to participate in this work or who might need help, call the South Region at 708-333-8379, and the Southwest Region is 708-430-0428. Again, thank you so much, Chris and Mary Ellen, for being on the show today.
Thank you.
And we invite all of you to get back again next week for another edition of The Voice of Charity. For now, this is Katie Bredemann, and we thank you for tuning in and believing in the mission of Catholic Charities.
Join us every Monday through Friday at this time for Catholic Chicago. You can stream our programs live or listen to past programs by visiting our website, archchicago.org, and clicking on Radio TV. And please connect with Catholic Chicago on social media.